Hello, dear colleagues. My name is Белорусская Anastasia. I'm from Moscow City University, and I would like to share with you my ideas about the development of creative thinking through the reflection of non-objective art. I belong to Russian School of Structural Dialectics, and that is why my main approach is structural dialectical approach, and I will discuss the process of development of creative thinking through this concept. So, a few words about non-objective art. What is it? Just to clarify, non-objective art is a form of abstract art that use usually geometric shapes, different angles, points, and maybe colors, but it does not seek to represent reality. And that is why the name is non-objective. So, I believe that such kind of art is a very fruitful base and significant resource for self-exploration practices. And it can be used in psychological work as a stimulus material because it's usually neutral in relation to the visitor, and the author doesn't mean any concrete things, and it does not have strong, clearly readable semantic or emotional charge, and it gives the opportunity to the visitor to generate personally significant content based on this, on the reflection on these pieces of art. Here on the slide, you can see some famous, well-known items by Malevich and by Vasily Kandinsky, famous Russian artists, and they did abstract art. So a few words about creativity and my understanding of creativity. In this slide, you can see the cover of our new book, the Routledge International Handbook on Dialectical Thinking, and there is a chapter about creativity and dialectical thinking in it. You can read it if you are interested in this subject. And here you can see a picture of iceberg, and it's a metaphor, of course, because I suppose that the typical well-spread definition of creativity about combining, synthesizing, or bridging ideas to generate novel, original, and appropriate solutions is just a surface, just a small part of this iceberg. And it's a very good question, what is deeper? And according to structural dialectical approach, we suppose that creativity is a capacity to actualize a complex of cognitive and effective mechanisms, including dialectical, formal logical, and symbolic structures, in order to define and transform problems that contain a high degree of openness and uncertainty at the start. Quite difficult, quite complex definition, but according to this understanding, when we are speaking about the development of the ability to create, I suppose that we should take into account these four positions. Firstly, it's very important to reveal personally significant meanings for the participants. We cannot develop creativity and doesn't care about the contents. It should not be like, like a game, like a joke. The content should be personally important to a person, to a human being. The second thing that we should work with contradictions and opposites, oppositions. It is very much about dialectical thinking. The third thing that we should develop the ability to symbolize to construct metaphors. It's our chance to work with subconscious things. They're really fruitful and useful work, even when we work with cognitive structures. And nevertheless, a little small, maybe not very big, but small work with some subconscious things could be very fruitful and resourceful. And then finally, we should reach the author's product, as a result of solving the open stat problem. And open stat problem means that a person needs to cope with a situation of uncertainty. And before starting to solve, first formulate the unique personally significant task within problem mass. A few words about this precise research project when I'm speaking about now. So it was a pilot research project, like an experiment, and I would like to share with you the information about it. So I did a training in Contemporary Russian Multimedia Art Moscow Museum. There were two exhibitions of non-objective art: exhibition Heavenly City by Igor Shelkovsky and exhibition Electro Art by Nikolai Politsky, two modern Russian artists. And we did 3 hours in-person session with a group of young adults. Mostly there were my students in this group from Moscow State Lomonosov University, but some of them also were our master students from Moscow City University. They were a little bit older. And it was 3 hours of in-person training just in the museum, basing on these two exhibitions material. And for research purposes, we conducted individual reflective online interviews, which with each of the participants within next 2 days online. I had two hypotheses then. So the first one was as follows: work with symbolization on the material of abstract art will allow participants to formulate personally significant contradictions that they will be motivated to work with further. And the second one, the most interesting for me, so was as follows: the most resourceful for further work is the symbol that is initially negatively charged for the participants. It has the main potential for further transformation. I will explain you a little bit later what I mean. So a few words about training structure. It was 3 hours intensive session with a group in the museum's hall. So I used two exhibitions. There are 3 floors in this museum and 3 steps of training. So the first floor and the first stage of training was about symbolization. The second was about change of alternative. It's one of the operation of dialectical thinking, and I will explain what I mean. And the third one was about open stat tasks, and the third floor, the final stage of the training. It was about personal creative products of our participants. So, and the first one was symbolization, the first stage. So here you can see like an example of the work that we saw in the exhibitions by Igor Shelkovsky, just like an illustration. And the first task, my first task to the group was: take a look at the whole, do not rush. Choose an object that you want to look at more than the others. Look at it for a while. You have 20 minutes. Don't talk to each other. Don't hurry. You can spend all 20 minutes just contemplating, one work. Then come up to the facilitator. And after each participant has chosen a work, the facilitator asks the following question. What do you think that this object could be a symbol of? Write down your version on paper. And further, the following instruction was given. Now remember the object that caused you negative feelings. So the first symbol was about object with positive feelings. First symbol is first metaphor. And the second one was about object with negative feelings. It's unpleasant to look at, you don't want to, it irritates you. And also come up with the idea what this object could symbolize. Yes, so the first stage was about constructing metaphors. Here are some examples of two participants, Elena and Paulina. For example, for Lena, the positive symbol, positive object was like in the figure 1, and she said that it's a symbol of calmness for her. And negative object was like a figure 2, and she supposed that it was a symbol of struggle. And for Paulina, this one was lightness, and this one was emptiness. And in this stage, there were some insights for participants, and especially when I wrote these concepts through VS. Yes, not just calmness and struggle, but calmness vs struggle, lightness vs emptiness. So we composed a pair of context oppositions. Yes, and my first hypothesis, my first idea was about that these context oppositions mean something important for a person, something important. So this conflict, calmness with struggle, or lightness with emptiness, has some existential sense for a participant. And this hypothesis turned out to be true through the research interviews afterwards. So the second stage was about change of alternative. Change of alternative is action of dialectical thinking when several contextual opposites are selected for an object based on different ground. For example, what could be opposite of home, street, hotel, office. So 3 different oppositions based on different grounds. Yes, it's just like an illustration. And so the second stage of this training, so the task to train this operation of dialectical thinking. And we try to rethink the negatively charged concept in terms of its potential resourcefulness. And we based on the next exhibition, electro art. Here you can see illustration. And what I did, it was a pair work in pairs. And after the first stage of our training, each participant has a pair of context oppositions. Yes. So then in pair, they had 2 pairs of oppositions. Yes. And the task for a pair looked like this. Each of you has a card with a pair of opposites. Now we will write these pairs one under the other and mix them in a certain way. And here on the right side, you see that this red cross. I showed to you how I mixed the oppositions. Yes. So I gave another card to all pairs of participants, and above line it was written the pairs as it was, as they were made by participants, and after the line, below the line, I formed new pairs, mixing the concepts diagonally and changing the poles from positive to negative. So you see that here below the line, struggle became positive, and it turns out to be opposed to lightness. Lightness became negative. Emptiness became positive, and calmness became negative. And I combine new pairs, just to show alternative contexts to the participants to reflect on. And after this, pairs of the participants went to the hall with such plastic huge constructions, and they had a new task: come up with a pair of characters that could live in this city. So imagine that these plastic installations is a kind of fantastic city with fantastic strange creatures, and come up with a pair of characters that could live in this city, be guided by what is written on your card under the line. Concepts with a plus should be resource and a strong point for these characters, and concepts with a minus should represent a constant problem. Try to come up with a story that could happen to them in this city. So pairs did it. Yes, pairs did it. I don't have time now to share with you the stories. They are very funny. It was a lot of talking and laughing. So among students, but it was, for me, it was like an exercise, like training exercise of their dialectical thinking, to return them after that to their personal context. And after this pair exercise, we returned to individual work, and on a separate card, I returned them to the concept that was negative for them initially on the first stage. And I asked them to choose several oppositions to this initially negative concept that will highlight the resourceful helping part of this concept. For example, struggle. At the first stage, it was struggle with calmness. And it highlights that the struggle is connected to excitement, anxiety, and after the exercise, struggle became VS passivity, rigidity, deadlock. So participant tried to underline activation, innovation, opportunity connected to the struggle, for example. And the second example is panic. At the first stage, it was panic with flow. And you see here the direct speech of a participant. And I would like to attract your attention that it was personally very not painful, but this participant was very involved, emotionally involved in this process. I even cried a little bit and experienced surge of anxiety. But she coped with her feelings and did the exercise. And after the exercise, panic became with emptiness, indifference, and apathy. And within the interview afterwards, this participant shared with me that she discovered that my panic is not a neurotic signal that something is wrong with me. This is a signal from my healthy psyche that I need to regain control of my life My agency needs to be manifested. And my panic means that I'm alive and can make my own scenario of life. It was very interesting interview, very long, and I hope to describe it in the article in details, future article. And the third stage is about open start task, and and the task was the next floor, the final floor of the exhibition. You see the illustration here. Now imagine that you have conceived your own author's creative product. You will choose the genre yourself: book, a movie, computer game, educational course, etc. The condition is that by using this product, people should discover for themselves the hidden meaning of the concept you have just explored, which you have revealed due to this exercise. You need to go to the exhibition, choose the object that will attract the most attention, take a photo of it, and imagine that this photo is for your future poster, advertisement poster of your future product. You need to write a short promotional text addressed to the potential audience so that it becomes clear that philosophical message this product carries. Here you see some examples. Short film Panic, psychological training Emptiness, TV series Struggle, and with short promotional texts to them. It was the final stage, but very important. So the heart of the training was the second stage, but this stage was also very important because in our reflection, we always need another person. We should invite somebody to reflect with us. It's a very important step of the reframing of everything and of such complex metaphoric constructs also. I realized this potential dialogue with another person like this. So the conclusion: the pair of opposite concepts that resulted from working with metaphors based on abstract art reflects an actual internal conflict for a person. One of my participants also even told me that it's so close to the truth that it's not even pleasant to think about it. And the reflection on the resourceful part of the negative concept given additional psychological support and usually help to reflect on the barriers of creative self-realization and agent position in life. Yes, and I have 6 interviews that proved this idea. And also, I hope that I will describe it in details in my future articles. If you would like to know more about this approach to the creativity and to development of creativity, can address you to the book and a special chapter in it, and my public talk about dialectical thinking and creativity exists in YouTube. Here is the link. So here are my contacts. I'm open to any dialogue and discussion and to maybe some questions or tips or whatever. So thank you for your attention. It was my pleasure to do this video talk. Thank you.